The content contained in this podcast are the opinions and beliefs of individual conservative students at the George Washington University, and these opinions are not necessarily supported by GW Young America's Foundation.
Okay, welcome to the YAFcast. My name is Daniel Perez. I'm a sophomore here at GW.
And my name is Christopher von Claperede. I'm also a sophomore at GW.
And today we'll be talking about what it means, how we became conservative, and what it means to be conservative on this campus, and a broader discussion on political civility in this time.
Absolutely. And I think what's also really nice is that being homosexual in this party, in this ideology, sometimes that comes with the stigma that it just can't be, but I think we're going to try to change some of those opinions.
We are groundbreaking.
We
in
are
the era of conservative.
I know, we're a rare species, but nonetheless, let's start with you, Danny. Tell me a little bit about kind of how you discovered you were conservative. That's a big, new world. But tell what influenced you, some of your background.
So, about a year and a half ago, if you asked me, I was a liberal.
Okay.
Which is very interesting.
Can we talk about that for 1 second? What do you think? Was it generationally? Do you think maybe high school? Do you think it was just kind of the norm?
Yeah, exactly. It was. Yeah. I'm from Miami. Like, everyone is a liberal. Like, I was like, yeah, I guess I'm also gay, so I support gay rights. Of course, I'm a liberal. I'm a Democrat.
It all just kind of fell into one. Yeah.
But then I got to college, and besides the fact that like college liberals are kind of crazy, so I was like, wait a minute, I'm not that liberal. Besides that, in a broader sense, it was about going to college and like missing my family, and like thinking about like a lot about reflecting on my family, and like going back home, and like I'm first generation student, son of immigrants. So whenever I go back home, like you can see how proud they were that I'm in college, I'm in DC, like I'm living out my dream, whatever. So like kind of reflecting on that a lot, I started to think about like my values and my family values particularly,
right.
Like traditional type of values that I discovered that I actually agree more with than the liberal values.
Would you say that coming to college and seeing because obviously colleges generally have a very large liberal population, do you think that seeing that and seeing a lot how it works on our campus, that actually also lit a fuse? Do you feel like that did it, or do you just feel like you found the environment perhaps with YAF, or you just going back? But you know what I'm trying to ask?
Yeah, college definitely played a role. Just because I was briefly part of college Democrats like my freshman year.
Oh wow!
I wasn't really that involved, but like I definitely started to like see myself politically by observing other people and like seeing how other people's backgrounds and how they think of things, how they approach things. So I kind of have changed my views around that. But that's how I'm a conservative. What about you?
Yeah. Wow. I think that was really well said. I think the one interesting thing is that with my conservative values, I hold a lot of the central tenets, but I also think that just like you, I'm still trying to discover where exactly everything plays a part. So one thing to know is my mother was a big Reagan Republican. I mean, she was in D.C. actually, and she saw everything from Nixon to, all of the Reagan years, and I think having her as my mother really had allowed me to kind of think about the classic Republican tenets. So I had that one influencer, but then actually my father, he was born in Germany in 1944, in what is now Poland, and he was a child of the Marshall Plan. And I mean, he told me how he grew up on all sorts of benefits and all sorts of, the very socialist, quite frankly, system. And yet he built everything for himself. I mean, yes, you have these programs, but back in the 40s and 50s in Germany, that was, it did nothing. So he was a self-made man, quite honest, and he became a chemist, and he's off to retirement. And so at the end of the day, we can talk about conservatism, policies, and being liberal and blah, 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 but I think the one ideology that always I hold is this ability to self-reliance and this ability to, make it your own and do hard work, and that's the conservative value, and that's the value that will always be with me. And so in thinking about my values, I've seen that conservative structure is a little more appealing to me.
I totally agree with that and get where you're coming from, because again, like as a son of immigrants and being first generation college student and just coming to DC and like living out my life with like politics, I have to figure out everything for myself, and I cannot ascribe myself to the victimhood ideology.
Right.
Is usually attributed to the left. I'm determined. I work hard. I'm not expecting anything from anybody. I'm just gonna keep on working hard, and I know that I will earn whatever it is that I want. And that's conservative. That's a conservative values, that you work for what you want.
Absolutely.
That's a very cool background. And just on that, to go further, living in DC and going to GW, which is obviously a very liberal campus, and this time where Trump is president, so things are gonna go very hectic. Just the environment of being conservative is I don't want to say like it's I'm not trying to be like oh my god, woe is me, but like, you understand, like it's a little tricky.
I think just speaking to GW, I think first of all, what's great is we're in the middle of it, so we hear all sorts of views from all the way left, all the way right, and everything in the middle. But I do think generally on college campuses, being conservative is a buzzword, as if you're not part of a greater movement, or you're doing something a little too avant-garde.
Right.
And I don't understand it, because and that's the other thing, is I think also being gay, you have this impression, oh well, you have to be liberal.
Right. I thought that when I found out you were conservative, I was like, wait, what?
I know.
I just assumed you were liberal.
And that's absolutely I totally get it. And I think the same thing, and I think it's and if anything, that speaks to the fact that there's now then that thought process that if you're not liberal and gay, you're doing something wrong, or it's like so. But I think what is great is that something I found about YAF and found about being conservative is it's actually a lot more inclusive than I think it gets this rep for. I think you can. I personally believe that you can trade in and out a lot of policy ideals that you personally have. So if you feel a certain way about guns or immigration, that may be a little bit more left, that's fine. But being able to hold to the tenets we were talking about just a little earlier, those are really what's important. And if anything, that's the most inclusive thing I could ever think of. Working hard and doing the work makes you part of that community. I think that's the best thing. And so whether you're gay or this race or whatever, where you come from, but I definitely think on college campuses, it's not been very welcome. A lot of talk more than actual like. Doing.
No, we get it. It's just virtue signaling a lot from the left. I mean, that we see on campus. But I agree. With what you're saying, like, and the ideology really is an inclusive one when you think about it, because it's about working hard, and anyone can do it if you work hard. If you, it's not about dividing anyone up by any sort of category. It's really just getting into it.
And especially when talking about government. I mean, government's not going to allow for everybody to get that springboard, but we can definitely have the governance in order to make the environment that, can make it as best as possible. But I definitely want to ask you if you've received a lot of backlash. Can you give an example of maybe saying, what you're part of YAF? No. Has anyone ever tried to?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I was obviously not very conservative last year. It was really over the summer that I had my transformation and coming into sophomore year. So definitely lost some friends. That's why I joined YAF this year I need new friends. I don't have I lost.
Can I just say, I think it was so interesting during the last election how people said, oh my, if your friend on Facebook likes a Donald Trump thing, simple, liking a Donald, that's it, you have to unfriend. And that's the other thing,
it's so crazy.
When I told my parents about that, they said, well, we've never heard this term unfriend, and of course it's Facebook, but it's like but I thought that was a really honest comment, that having these different beliefs and trying to have this dialogue, say, okay, you think that, why do you think that's not even in the forum anymore? And I don't understand that. But would you say that you once you said YAF or once you said conservative, it was a nope, like not even discussing it, not even going? Do you feel like you got any of that?
yes, it's to the point where I'm also like careful in conversation to not like if they ask me like what am I involved on campus, like I'm not gonna say yeah, just because like I don't want the conversation to be like stopped because of any prejudice or whatever my beliefs are. So I definitely feel that, and it's just like. And again, like going back, it's like there's no place for even to talk about it. Like an automatic discussion shuts off. So like, how can we have political civility, in a time like this where it's complete tribalism? People are
polarized,
very polarized. Like no one's willing to talk to each other. I mean, since I was a liberal as of last year, like I think I understand both sides a little better than other people. So I'm more willing to have a discussion, and like I can understand where people are coming from, even if I don't agree with them. I'm not sure that many people agree. Many people share that sentiment.
And you know what? This is the biggest thing is that I don't think anybody has all the answers. Whatever side you're on, of course you can be really strong in your beliefs, whatever it may be, but I think the goal of political debate is to try and understand the other side and trying to get an appreciation, like you said. Maybe we don't agree, but maybe we can understand where you're coming from and how we can meet in the middle. Because at the end of the day, that's how it has to work. And, friending somebody off Facebook because they do too many Trump posts, I mean, I don't know how that's going to get us anywhere.
I mean, I wouldn't like that person either, really. If they were spamming my feed with Trump. But
that's
I'm
fair.
not gonna unfriend. I'm not gonna be crazy about it. I mean, it's just to the point where if you cannot even acknowledge that the other person has a valid point or it comes from a right place. Like we need to acknowledge like a good intention and everybody else. No one thinks that. I mean, some people might think that if I believe this, you're conservative. That's because you're a bigot. Like in your heart, like you're just a bad person. Like I don't attribute any bad intention toward anyone. Like even people who are on the far left that I don't agree with, who might support policies that I don't agree with, like in terms of economy or social welfare. Like I know that their intention is to help people. That they want to they want people to thrive and be happy and be able to live in this country as they should. And I agree. I agree with that sentiment. Like we come from the same places. We need to understand that. We all want what's best.
Yeah, and I think I think you raise a good point because, and I think I'm thinking about it more, is that politics comes from one's experience. What did mom and dad say? What did my life have to bring that makes me think this way? And so, politics is that moment of trying to understand where somebody's life has taken them and how so and so have wronged them or whatever has done, and trying to build a dialogue and say, well, what can we do to improve that for the next person and improve it for you? And I think, and that's a very deep, interesting conversation. And now we have to definitely talk about the subject. Let's talk about how the intersection between LGBTQ plus and conservative. Why don't you lead us off and give some starting remarks?
So in the transition between me like saying, okay, I'm not a liberal, I would say, and it was like for a while, I'm not a Democrat, but I'm definitely not a Republican. And it was, and when I said that, it was entirely based on the idea like I'm gay. The Republican Party doesn't support gay rights. They don't want to, all this. But then I also started to think about the labels and just like, am I gonna be really like, why am I supposed to be, tied down and my political opinions ascribed to me because of whatever I might identify as. So I kind of now I just reject it. I'm like, I don't need to. If you're black, you don't have to be a Democrat. If you're gay, you don't have to be a Democrat. Like it's not all these labels that don't have to necessarily. It's a prejudice, honestly.
Right.
It's a prejudice.
Yeah.
I was prejudiced with you when I assumed that you were liberal just because I know you because you were gay.
I mean, and that's the thing is that it's. That's human nature. I think that's the one thing I really like about conservative values. I think they often understand the human nature aspect of people, whether it be corruption, whether it be bad government, I mean, all of these things. And in speaking to LGBTQ+, I think that it's interesting, when we, and a lot of the policies that go along with it are, marriage, for example. Mm-hmm. I'm always under the impression, whether it be, I like I said to you, I think that government in marriage doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that's the place. and based on whatever it is, whether it be a religious ideology or whether it be your orientation. And so I think that's one of my biggest impressions. And so when getting married to a man and two women getting married, I don't see what the issue. And it's a unit that can contribute to something. It's not, I don't think, a unit.
And
that
there's a lot of social reasons why, like, it's obviously like the same to be raised by same-sex parents or it's about household. It's about the values that you're being taught at your household.
Right.
But having said that, now that I do identify as a conservative and a Republican, I will say that the Republican Party needs to change its messaging. It does have a messaging problem with being called the party that hates gay people. There's definitely something that they have to change within the party to be more accepting. And I think that appealing to values into our conservative values, not just beyond gay marriage or gay rights, but values that people can actually be attracted to, like I was.
Right. I think that's fair, Danny, and I think it is sad because, I mean, the way things are also spun in the media, I think also is one thing, is that you have a lot of just snowballing effect that comes from that. But I think definitely the Republican Party specifically, with a lot of the rhetoric recently, and it's not conducive.
It's not helping.
It's not helping, and like you said, it doesn't have to be about those are two men or those are two women, whatever. I think it should be about the values one has. And you look at another thing, recently transgenders in the military.
Yeah.
Serving, and that's the other thing, is people don't understand serving in the military isn't just right on the front. You can be behind the computer and work for the military, or you can be operating machinery or whatever. And so what is it about? Being patriotic and serving your country? Or is it about what you have between your legs? I can't understand.
Exactly. These people want to serve in the military. They want to fight for our country. Shouldn't be. We should not be hostile toward them.
I agree.
And going back with same-sex parents in the family, it's more important to teach to emphasize family and not have I'm not gonna get into that, but obviously not a pro-choice abortion supporting and not a single motherhood, which is astronomically high, but to emphasize family values. It doesn't matter if it's a man and a woman or two dads, whatever. A family unit that and programs, community programs that support that kind of family unit.
Totally. Okay, well, I think we've had a very productive discussion.
We hit on a lot very broadly. There's so much to go to, but that was a good place to get there.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, thank you.